everybody, we are back. It is your favorite Raiders channel, podcast, film breakdowns, whatever you want to call it. Tape don't lie. You know, you guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button too if you like it. If you like this, go ahead, hit the like button. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button. If you don't like it, go ahead, leave us a comment. If you like it, leave us a comment about how you like it. So let us know. We love all feedback. Like we always say every single episode, we love it. So make sure you guys give it to us, and make sure you follow us on Twitter too. You got at the Mark John NFL. That is me. That is at BD Williams 18, right, for BD. As you know, Game Pass is still down, right?
It's still down. Confirmed.
Yeah, it's confirmed. It just went off my mobile phone. So Game Pass is still down. But even during the preseason, we're gonna give you guys some film breakdowns, even with the broadcast, because they were gonna be no all 22 with preseason anyways.
Yeah.
So with preseason, we're still gonna give you guys some breakdowns with the broadcast, no matter what. So you guys are gonna get that preseason content from us, but we're gonna kind of go still with the show format that we did last week. And some people said they really enjoyed it, so we're definitely happy about that. You guys enjoyed that format. See, we had a lot of random Mariota fans come. I didn't know Mariota had a fan base like that, man. That you win a Heisman, it's deep like that, because those guys weren't Raiders fans. That was
the entire states. Okay, the entire states of Oregon and Hawaii. All right, are Marcus Mariota fans.
Okay.
All right. I'm sure our guy Matt Holder is a Marcus Mariota fan. You know? He's probably upset at us for some of the things that we said. Were we that crazy about Marcus Mariota? We just he's he belongs in the NFL. He's like fringe starter. He can be deadly in the right situation, but he's not someone that's going to carry your team 16 games. Like, that's all we said. They're probably going to pile on us again, so we should probably shut the hell up.
Yeah. I mean, they just I don't think we bashed him. I think we just kind of just talked about his career, kind of, it is what it is. I mean, but one guy commented like he was like, how some, a lot of people that, don't like the Derek Carr discourses that, they make excuses for him, right? They make excuses about, he's had different coaches, whatever, never had stability. But the comment about the one guy left by Marcus Mariota, he had 4 offensive coordinators. He went through 5 coaches, terrible offensive line, no weapons. It's like, damn, man. I mean, Tannehill looked all right with the weapons.
He looked really good with the same exact scheme, weapons, everything.
I don't know. Anyways, let's not too much Mariota. We got other stuff to talk about today. How you feeling, BD?
Yeah, man, I'm feeling good. I also pissed off some Nate Hobbs truthers out there,
Okay.
But I don't care. So let's move on. First things first, Raiders made a pretty big splash. Okay.
Yeah.
Late in the game, and this is something that happens when you have a player of his age and caliber, Gerald McCoy, signed with the Raiders. A lot of times, they're not trying to sign early on in free agency and then have to go to all the mini camps and all the OTAs. You know what I'm saying? And they want to do their own thing their way. Show up to training camp, maybe a little late, fashionably late, show up to training camp, and work from there, work into shape as the season goes on. And Gerald McCoy, definitely a player who deserves that kind of treatment, if you will. He's proven a lot of things as far as like being on the field in the NFL. He doesn't have to come show up to OTAs. The guy's had I counted 7 different defensive coordinators in his career, 10-year career. 5, 6, 7, 8, 8.5, 9 sack seasons. Like, the guy, we know Gerald McCoy is going to bring it, and he's going to do his assignment, and so he doesn't have to show up to OTAs and nothing like that, right? That's fine. There's a couple things. First things first, I put out a little tweet about this. Gus Bradley comes from the Pete Carroll coaching tree. I would put him in the Pete Carroll coaching tree, even though he got his start as a linebackers coach under Gruden. Okay. I think that, when he went to Seattle and then Pete Carroll got hired, he kept Gus Bradley as the defensive coordinator. And I think that a lot of things that now Gus Bradley does, he got that from Pete Carroll, like the cover three scheme and, certain aspects of his philosophy. And one of those things that Pete Carroll was notorious for when he first took over as the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks is he made like record number of transactions, roster moves in like the first like 2 or 3 years that he was there. Like one year it was like 284 times they signed or cut someone. It was like insane level of churning the roster. And I think that when we see like, okay, look at everyone they brought in at three technique, like the list goes on and on. It's Quentin Jefferson, it's Darius Philon, it's Solomon Thomas. They let go Maurice Hurst, they let go David Irving. Now they're bringing Gerald McCoy in. I think that that's what Gus Bradley wants. He wants competition. You see every single position. Basically, there's a big competition, even at linebackers, which was a solid group for the Raiders last year. A lot of competition at linebacker. And that's what's happening at three technique. And my guy on Twitter, Kenneth Darnell, shout out to Kenneth. He said, you got to keep shuffling till you find the right cards to play with. Well said. My guy is speaking in Proverbs right now. Okay. So that's really what it is. So yeah, I like the move. What do you think?
I like the move because the last time he played well. He has never not played well.
Never not played well.
He's never had a bad year where he's been like down. You know what I mean? Like, he hasn't been great like he was in his all pro years, like when he was all pro back in 2013. He had some great seasons, but he's always been a good player. So, I feel like eventually he's probably going to be starting over Quentin Jefferson. I think he's going to be able to play. I think he's a player who could play all three downs. Like, he doesn't have to come off the field. He can, but he doesn't have to, because I think he could play the run. There's some good clips that I found of him playing the run pretty well, like at the goal line. You know what I mean? Like, so I think he brings a little leadership. He was able to, there was clips of him like teaching already, and Carl Nassib talked really high about him being a great teacher and a great mentor to other players. And I think he's going to bring that aspect, but I also think he's got something to prove still. I think he's a little still mad. He's probably even mad at the Bucs won the Super Bowl after they cut him. After he gave all his all the blood, sweat, and tears. He's the best player in the Bucs for a long, like for a long time. And Levante David finally got to get his flowers, but Gerald McCoy has really never got those flowers yet. So he's got the Pro Bowls and all that stuff, and has a little bit more of the personality. But I think he still has a lot to prove, and I think he's still got a little bit of juice left. We'll see. Maybe he could be completely done. He's coming off a big quad injury, but in 2019 he didn't look done. So if he is recovered from the injury and healthy, he's gonna give us some really good weeks in the interior, get some really good push. And then if they could, switch in him and Quentin Jefferson and mix them in, I think that's a great rotation, actually, to be honest. I think mixing those two in, Quentin Jefferson and McCoy, and you could mix those guys in, and then because McCoy can play the run better than he can. So that's the thing too. So even if Hankins went down or something happened with Hankins, you could move McCoy over to where Hankins is at, because he could play the run pretty well. So you can move him around a little bit, and and you can even put him and Jefferson on the field at the same time. You can put him and Hankins on the field at the same time. It adds more to the rotation to me, but it also adds another good piece, because I think Quentin Jefferson is a solid player. I think McCoy is a good player, so I think it's a little bit of a higher level player, and I think that's it does a lot for this rotation, I believe, for sure.
Yeah, the I would say, his style of play, he's a gap penetrator.
Yeah.
So you will see him make some plays, some splash plays, some really good looking plays against the run, getting into the backfield, and that's what Gus Bradley wants. I'm gonna drop an article tomorrow on Silver and Black Pride about how he fits as far as that goes. And to your point, he's never not had a bad year in the NFL, or a bad year for him is like a 5-sack season, which is like better than anything we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, for most DTs.
Yeah, right.
That's a good year for most DTs. Yeah,
right, exactly. So like that's a bad year for him. He is old.
Yeah.
Older, I should say. He, coming off a big injury, missed a year. So you never know. It's a shot in the dark, whether or not that means he's fresh legs, or if it means like, he's got a lot of rust on him. We'll see, and we'll find out. But one thing that I like that is encouraging just from going through whatever I could find about Gerald McCoy, he is not a one-trick pony as a pass rusher.
Yeah.
He wins every single way that you can win. Okay. Every move. If he wants to bull rush you, he's going to bull rush you. If he's going to win with an inside move, a two-way go on you, he's going to two-way go on you. He's got a variety, a full arsenal of moves to win on the outside shoulder of the guard. He could stunt, and he's going to get hustle sacks. Like, no stone goes untouched with this guy when it comes to rushing the passer. So I think fantastic move for the Raiders. It's what they need when you got guys like Max Crosby and Cleveland Ferrell. Again, you got another guy who is going to bring it as far as the hustle goes on the interior. So I love that.
Yeah. I really liked it too, man. I really did. He's just a player like, I kind of feel like it's a kind of like a Calais Campbell type of thing. Like where, he's older and, he might not be 2017 or, whatever they were, right? But, Calais Campbell still brings a presence. He's still a good, effective player, and I think that's what Gerald McCoy is going to bring. I think he's going to bring like that kind of a presence where is he still the superstar that he was before? No, but is he a good player that's going to, elevate this defense? I think this defense got better by bringing him in for sure. Because just what I was pointing out, I mean, like you don't have to depend, like Quentin Jefferson is not the best 3 technique at this point. You know what I mean? So if we're not going to the season with just a player that has a history of, kind of up and down play, has Quentin Jefferson had good play before? Yeah, but he has never played to the level of Gerald McCoy, right? And Gerald McCoy probably played to the level of Quentin Jefferson's best year in 2019. That's called him falling off.
Better.
So, better, right? So that's what I'm saying. And that's called him falling off. So if he comes to the table, and it's not like he had a knee injury or anything like that. And I know Kawhi have to do with pushing off and stuff like that, but it wasn't a knee injury. I think it's a great signing to me.
All right, so let's move on. You want to talk to us about Bryan Edwards? He's like the talk of training camp right now.
Again. it's like
deja vu. We did this last year.
We did this last year, right?
That was like our first episode of Tape Don't Lie. Was you breaking down Bryan Edwards? Okay, so talk to us.
Yeah, so Bryan Edwards is out here balling again. He's he's doing his thing. He's getting crazy comparisons. We're calling him T.O. We're calling him Randy Moss. And then everybody's getting upset because they called him Randy Moss, and PFF Sam or whatever, Sam Monsoon said he's 2021 Terrell Owens. If he's like, you gotta get disrespectful, bro. Like you gotta relax, you know what I'm saying? But I think Edwards, right. I think what we're seeing with Edwards, especially with Waller out, right, is like I think Edwards has the ability to kind of be a safety net for Derek Carr. I think that he has that. He's already building a little bit of trust, and you can already see it kind of last year when even when he's in the game, I think Derek Carr trusts him a lot. I think Derek Carr trusts him to be in the spot. I think the throw against Denver, where he makes a great throw, kind of trying to describe it, like when he's coming over the middle of the over route, Derek Carr like he anticipates it, hits it right where he's supposed to go. So that means that he trusts Bryan Edwards to be where he needs to be if he's anticipating things like that. And even in the Saints game, there's a pass interference that got called. We talked about his release, right? We talked about how he has a little false step in his release, and he doesn't beat Marshawn Lattimore in press though. But Derek Carr still trusts him. He stepped up in the pocket and threw downfield and threw to him back shoulder, right? And ended up being pass interference, and he almost should have been caught, but it ended up being pass interference. But I think they have that. He has that trust in him a little bit already, where he's able to trust that he's going to be in certain spots, in certain routes. So it's more to me is, are they going to expand this playbook enough where these guys get targets, or are we just like getting excited to watch them run the ball anyways? That's kind of my thing. Like, if they're going to run the ball, right, they're a rushing team. They ran the ball 44% of the time, right? They're as we talked about this, that are tied for 5th in the league with like 3 other teams, right? If they're going to run the football like that, that means only 3 guys are getting targets. Let's just keep it real. There's 3 guys getting targets, right? So that means it's Waller. Okay. Yeah. I mean, running backs get targets. Okay. So running backs get targets. So we're talking. So that kind of takes away another wide receiver, basically. Okay. So there's not going to be 4 wide receivers that just kind of just eat, because there's going to be running back targets. I wrote an article about the halfback choice. Derek Carr's already talking about halfback choice with Kenyon Drake. So, I mean, you're probably going to be seeing a lot of Kenyon Drake. You are, right? And then they got this play called Z curl too. That's a good play where, they hit Ruggs on it pretty deep, but the third read coming out is a check down, so they're hitting running backs. It's part of it. It's part of their offense. So if they're going to run the ball, right, and they're throwing running backs, so there's 3 guys. So we got Waller, right? I mean, we know Waller, right? Probably Renfro, right? Maybe, probably, right? So the battle for the third is between Ruggs and Edwards. And
okay, I see what you're saying. 100% see what you're saying.
I'm just keeping it real with everybody. I'm just trying to keep it real.
I agree. You can't have like consistent high volume amongst all 4 of these guys. 5 if you count John Brown, 6 if you count Zay Jones, right? It's not possible to have high volume for everyone. But let me posit it like this, okay? And I'm pretty sure this is how Gruden wants to do things. They're going to go into a game plan and they're going to be like, okay, look, Darren Waller, you're going to eat this week. Okay. We think that this is a mismatch. We're going to run these routes to you, yada, yada, yada. And Darren Waller, more often than not, he's going to be the focus of the passing game. Okay. But then they're going to go into some weeks where they're like, okay, actually, we like this matchup with Henry Ruggs. So Henry Ruggs is going to have like 3 games, 2, 3, 4 games, maybe, where he goes crazy. And then the rest of the games is going to be like 2-3 catch games. Right. And then some other games, it might be Bryan Edwards who, get some of that extra looks, some extra attention. Renfro is always going to be like the short yardage, intermediate, third down guy every single game. Like that's his thing. But again, like in a good game, you don't need a bunch of Renfro. Like a game where you're running the ball really well. You maybe use some play action, go off the top, and Darren Waller's eating. You don't really need Renfro in those games. So I just think it's another element, and this is what Gruden wants to do. He wants to have as many different pieces that he can so that he can go into each week being like, okay, we're going to feature this guy, we're going to feature that guy. And it's not like everyone's fighting over targets every game. More like 1 or 2 guys are going to get highlighted at different times. What do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, I kind of, but I do think Carr likes to check the Waller. That's one thing he likes to do. He's he does it more often than you think. He likes to, like, where it's because a lot of times when he does plays, he has to pick a side, right? He's pick a side type of things, and he does like to he likes Waller. Well, let's just say that he does like Darren Waller. He likes to throw him the ball, so he's going to get most of the targets. I mean, it doesn't matter what the game plan is. I mean, because Carr might see something during the game plan. There's going to be options for him. He'd be like, okay, well, they're doing this to Waller. I mean, everything might adjust. I mean, everything's going to roll through Darren Waller in his eyes, in my opinion. That's what I've heard him talk all offseason. That's kind of where his eyes are, right? So he's got to earn trust with these other guys, right? He's got to earn trust with them to kind of start to build some kind of chemistry so they can get something going. But I just don't see if Edwards is going to be part of this offense in a heavy way, right? I mean, way this offense is designed, especially what they were doing last year. I mean, the routes he was running last year. I mean, he's like the 4th read, right? He's running the runoff routes on the backside of a smash return, right? He's running something, just running off. I mean, he's gonna have to switch it up with these choice routes and stuff like that. He's gonna have to give these other guys chances. He's gonna have to try to mix it up and try to get these guys targets. But that's not gonna happen. So if that's
Edwards is not running choice routes, okay? There's like 4 other options. You love choice routes. Listen,
but he does too, though. That's what I'm saying.
Listen. You're gonna need times, okay, where someone needs to just win on the outside. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I know that people are gonna go they're gonna go nuts when I say this, Darren Waller does not win on the outside like nearly as much as what he wins across the middle of the field. Okay. Down the
maybe.
seam,
I
down
don't
the
know.
post, over route, everything like that. How many clips do we have Darren Waller going out wide? We need a fade or something like that, and he gets the pass broken up. Like that happens a lot more often than any other
He's getting
route.
better. He's getting better.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully. But that's what Bryan Edwards' game is. His game is winning that fade ball outside. They need that in this offense. They need that because they haven't had that in like years now.
Yeah, but it's gonna be interesting. I just with Ruggs and Edwards, they got to get on into these choice routes and these intermediate routes for them to eat like how the fans kind of want them to eat. I mean, that's basically
they're not going to eat like the fans want them to eat. It's not possible. But it's a weapon. It's a weapon where when we need it, okay, there's going to be a game Edwards goes off. There's going to be a couple games where Ruggs goes off. Like that's the point of it. Waller's the main vein of this passing game. Like that's the main target in the passing game. It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
I got an idea. A little counter rebuttal for your last segment. Okay, so okay. I'm gonna keep that one.
All right, so because it's just to me like if you got all these weapons, you got all these guys, you pick them all up, and you're just gonna run the ball. It's like I don't. My mind, I guess I'm I'm the passing quarterback guy. In my mind, I'm like, okay, you have all these weapons, you drafted them. I mean, Bryan Edwards, if he did the Senior Bowl and actually participated in, off-season workouts, who knows where he goes?
He goes earlier,
right?
Yeah.
He goes a lot earlier, right?
For sure.
So who knows where he goes? So you have these talented wide receivers. You got a talented slot. You got a talented tight end. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
We're just gonna hand the ball off. It don't make no sense to me. It don't make any sense. I don't get it. That's all. I mean, because even how they're talking now, it's like it's like setting into me that it's like they're gonna run the football. I mean, somebody said something today about how we know we're gonna run. So like I think it was Foster Moreau.
Yeah,
talking about like how we're gonna run the
football. That's our identity. Yeah.
That's our identity. So I mean, we're gonna live and die by running the football, and you know what I'm saying. That's why I think. Sometimes the expectations of what's going to happen with some of these wide receivers and their production is going to be, I think we should temper it a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
It's hype and, we got these big wide receivers, but if we're running the ball if he wants to run the ball 47% of the time, I mean, we're not going to, these guys have like 33 catches and stuff like that. And everybody's going to be mad.
Right. They're going to be mad. They're going to be mad. Yes.
Just come on, man. Listen, I just give me like, before we let Cargo or we pay him or whatever. I mean, whatever. Just give me like a 580 pass this season, like 600. Just give me like 600. I just want to see it. Like, what do you got? What you got?
Let's move on. Let's move on.
All right. Your boy KJ Wright came in for a visit. A very good linebacker came in. He got Raider Nation really excited, and then he got on the plane, and he obviously thinks he says he has a lot of suitors, which I don't know if that's true in August, but we'll see. Maybe. I don't know. But what are your thoughts on KJ Wright joining the Raiders if he does? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, he does have a lot of suitors, but everyone wants to give him a 1-year deal, and he wants a multi-year deal. So I guess now it's down between the Seahawks and the Raiders have offered 2-year deals. And I think that, remember when Navarro Bowman came over?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Navarro Bowman was like, I'm an every down player. And he wasn't an every down player anymore, And so he basically went to every team that wanted him. And every team was like, no, you're coming off the field in nickel, right? And the Raiders were so bad at linebacker. They were like, okay, yeah, you can play in nickel. Like, we don't have anyone else. Okay. So he chose the Raiders because he wanted to play all 3 downs.
Yeah.
Right. So I think a similar thing is happening. Not that KJ Wright has more left in the tank at this point in his career than Navarro Bowman had at that point. But I think that one of the snags, and why I don't predict that KJ Wright will sign is that it's a crowded linebacker room. And if they're smart, they're going to use these guys to their strengths, which means there's going to be times when KJ Wright is not on the field, and I think that he wants to be on the field like maximum amount of you know, as much as he can, and obviously he's a great player. You know, KJ Wright is a great player. He would be probably like the best all around linebacker, you know, on the Raiders. You know, even at an advanced age, and even when the Seahawks have been phasing him out of the game, in like these last couple years, because they drafted that guy Jordan Brooks in the first round to play linebacker, and he's been like slowly eating away at KJ Wright's snaps. I just think like when you got Nicholas Morrow, great cover year last year, everyone loves him. You got Corey Littleton. Corey Littleton is a defensive back. He's a strong safety. Okay, like you want him on passing downs. You want him in there on passing downs. I think that with KJ Wright, they probably told him like, look, yeah, you're gonna play weak side linebacker, you know, on first and second down, but on third downs, we're putting Corey Littleton in, and I think that that's the reason why he left without signing. To be honest with you.
Okay, yeah, that makes complete sense, because I mean, he wasn't a come off the field linebacker in Seattle, so I don't know why he would want to do that.
Well, this last year he was. He started getting subbed out.
For who? Jordan Brooks.
Jordan Brooks, yeah.
Yeah, that's the replacement. That's the guy that said they couldn't cover. That's the smart guys. But Matty Brown swears the guy he could. We'll see. All right.
Yeah, Matty F. Brown and C. Mike Spin move. They both. I just see
Jordan Brooks truthers.
Yeah, I just see nothing but Jordan Brooks covering the weak, you know, hook curl player carrying number 3 vertical or something like that. Like,
oh, they're the truthers, man. They're Jordan Brooks truthers for sure. But yeah, KJ Wright, he would probably be one of the better players in the Raiders defense too. But I think that's a great analysis of that, because I didn't really think about that aspect of it. But you're right. He probably doesn't want to come off the field. He probably wants to feel like that he still can do that. He probably feels like he's a little slighted by Seattle, but to me, it's like it's August, bro. Like, I mean, unless somebody's gonna get hurt, I don't know what team you're gonna sign with.
That's what he should wait for. He should wait for someone to get hurt. But
yeah, I mean,
and here's my thing too. If they do sign KJ Wright, Nick Kwiatkowski or Corey Littleton, like, what's the point of paying these guys $5 million a year contracts if they're not even going to be starters? You know, like Nick Kwiatkowski, he's already getting replaced. Why would you go then sign a player to replace another guy who's making $5-6 million a year? You know, like, you don't need this many good linebackers. There's only going to be 2 linebackers on the field.
Let me ask you a question. You think, all right, so the Seahawks, I'm going to mention this because, you know, this is the kind of the same scheme, everything else. The Seahawks in 2019 were a primary base team. Okay. Like it was like everybody's freaking out because they're a base team primarily.
They played so much base. And last year too, they played so much base. Yes.
Do you think that with them trying to bring in KJ Wright, that they're because nickel, they don't have a nickel quarterback right now. They don't really have a slot cornerback. Do you feel like that might have been the vision of them to play base in like as a primary aspect, because they don't have that slot? So they bring in a KJ Wright, Corey Littleton can cover, right? So you can mix around the linebackers. You don't have to worry about a slot, but you're in base, but you're not in base. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, so two ways of looking at it. KJ Wright has played the Sam linebacker in Gus Bradley's scheme. He played Sam linebacker for Gus Bradley when Gus Bradley was there. He was on the in-man line of scrimmage. It was Malcolm Smith who was the weak side linebacker in base. Okay. Yeah. So he was on the 9 technique over the tight end in Gus Bradley's scheme. He's already done that. Okay. And so when you want to be in an underfront, you got KJ Wright. If you bring KJ Wright in, he fits that better than any of these other guys that are currently on the roster. You know, like, he's 6'3", 250 pounds, 245 pounds. You know, these other guys are like 6'1", 220. Like, you're not putting that guy on a tight end, most likely against the run, right? Yeah. And then when you want to get into your nickel fronts, but you want to keep base personnel, you can get into that even front, and you can make Corey Littleton now walk out over that slot receiver or whatever it is, right? Yes. And again, He's like a defensive back. Okay. His biggest struggle is playing the run on the interior. Okay. Like, and in Gus Bradley's scheme, defensive tackles are going to get upfield. He's going to get a lot more trash his way than he did in the previous year. So I think that is another concern that they have with Corey Littleton, his ability to get off blocks, because he will have to this year. He has to get off blocks this year. Whereas last year in Paul Guenther's scheme, they wanted to hold up these guys, squeeze down gaps. Corey Littleton was more free in that scheme. And, he was a protected man in the front. So there's some concerns, but if you want to, do that, and you want to stay in base, he can walk out, get into it even front. He can walk out over the slot now. And he's proven that he can do that. I have clips of him playing man coverage. You did one on Deebo Samuel. I got a clip of him playing trail technique, breaking up a pass against Michael Thomas, against the Saints. Like, he can play these things. He's playing cover 2 corner for the Raiders last year. He can play defensive back style of coverages. And in Gus Bradley's scheme, he would just be a curl flat player anyways, because we cover 3 most likely.
Yeah.
So I think it is a possibility. And if KJ Wright does come in and they don't deal, like, they got to deal with Nick Witkowski then at that point. You're right. Like, they got to. Yeah. But, mixing around what they do in base personnel, staying in base as long as they possibly can, that would probably be what it is. Like, would you sub out KJ Wright or Corey Littleton so you could put Nate Hobbs in, a rookie corner?
No, that's what I'm
from the Big Ten. No, like, it makes more sense than it, like that makes sense. If you want to stay in base, it makes sense to bring KJ Wright in. So I guess maybe that's a possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. I mean, if you don't have the actual personnel to run that, I mean, yeah, will it hurt you a little bit? I mean, sure. There's some guys that Corey Littleton would not be able to cover in the slot. Like, I'm sure the Chargers would just move Keenan Allen on him all day. They would probably just move Keenan Allen inside and be like, oh, you're going to put Corey Littleton there. Let's see if he can guard Keenan Allen, right? That's probably what they would do. But, I mean, and that'll be a tougher coverage, but I'm sure, if they did that with Nate Hobbs or anybody, they'd have a tough day too. So, but yes. But I do think that the base and that idea is probably a reason why they might have brought in KJ Wright, because you're right. I mean, the linebackers they have aren't bad. I mean, it's probably like the best group that they have there, right? On defense, right? So, I mean, we don't know about the safeties. I mean, the safeties are so young. So, I mean, that could be it. I mean, that could be the next group to pop up. But right now it's the linebackers, and they were about to bring in another. I mean, they were like bringing in like I'm trying to think of like a random. They like Malcolm Smith. They were bringing in Malcolm Smith. They're bringing in KJ Wright. I mean, that's a starter. Like, he's not coming into, try to make the team. And I mean, that is a starter.
There's a schematic aspect to this, but when you're going to have go into each game with 5 active linebackers on the roster. Okay. Yeah. 3 of those guys are going to play every single special teams rep, right? Mm-hmm. So is it going to be Corey Littleton playing every single special teams rep, or is it going to be, your starting middle linebacker, Nicholas Morrow, playing every single special teams rep? Like, right now, Nick Witkowski, he's a core special teams player for the Raiders. He's backing up Nicholas Morrow. And they're already looking to bring in another linebacker. Like, this is gonna be the most expensive linebacker, linebackers playing special teams I've ever seen in my life. Because KJ Wright, he's old. He's older than all these guys. He's not playing special teams.
He does play special teams.
He's not playing special teams. Yeah. So, like, that's a super important part of how you create your linebacker room. The guys who are backing up are playing every single special teams. They're on field goal, PAT, like, they're gonna be out there playing like tackle on PAT, like they will play every single rep of special teams. So it just makes that aspect of it a lot more difficult too, especially because none of the Raiders wide receivers play special teams out. Okay, yeah. So let's move on. It's been a question mark, shrouded in mystery. Why is Darren Waller not at practice, bro? What's going on here?
We don't know. Nobody really knows. It's all quiet. I mean, probably by the time you guys hear this episode, we'll probably find out from Gruden. You probably, that the KBG Raiders will let us know what's going on with the John Putin will let us know what's going on with their disclose CIA documents that they keep under there. They want
everything will be redacted, whited out.
Redacted. Darren
Yeah.
Waller, redacted. Here returned, redacted.
That's a good joke. Do you have a theory though? Do you want to throw it out there?
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple of theories.
Okay.
I got a couple. I mean, one, he could be hurt, right? He might be hurt. Something they don't want to tell us, you know.
But if he was hurt, why wouldn't they just not say that?
Exactly, which goes back to my other theory, which is that he might be holding out a little bit, and there's a $50,000 fine for if you hold out. So you can't hold out really, and NFL players can't hold out anymore. So it's literally you lose like $2 billion in like a week if you hold out. So at this point, so you really can't do that. So what do? You show up, get some practices, you get some running, and then right when the pads start, you just have a seat. Right when the pads start, you're like, hey, all right. So the pads start. You only make $6 million, and I mean, I don't know what Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry got paid, but they're definitely not as good as me. And that might be part of it. But I'm just speculating. I could be terribly wrong. It could be a serious injury. Let's hope it's not that. Let's rather hope it's a holdout. I hope he's holding out.
Darren Waller is, according to Spot Rack, due 6.4 million. But it looks like he had a pretty big signing bonus. No, I don't know what that's about, what that number there is. Now, what they're saying his worth is, I think that we can look that up here, right? On Spot Rack. We can try to figure out what his worth would be. While I find that, do you remember when he got when he signed his contract?
2019, like mid-season.
So they locked him up because they were like, okay, this guy's going to be good. And then it was basically, now it's looking like a big bargain comparison to like some of these guys that you named getting signed, things like that. And
you see Kittle's deal. You don't think he thinks he's good as Kittle?
Right.
I mean, he means as much as his team as he does to Kittle.
Yeah. I thought they had something on Spot, right? Maybe that was another.
I mean, a couple of things. That's because I hate being a rumor guy, because we're like, we're a film breakdown channel, right? That's what we do. We do film breakdowns. So I hate to be the rumor guy, but if you follow Darren Waller on Instagram, he's made some interesting stories. That's all I'm gonna say. He's had some interesting comments that just stay up for 24 hours. If you get a screenshot, it's gonna go away. You can't find it right now. But he's made some interesting comments about tight ends getting paid. He's got a couple of videos out there about him talking about how he's money. I don't know. He deserves it though. So I mean, it was always my thing. It was always my kind of thought process that this is going to happen at some point if they just didn't do it themselves.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it was gonna happen.
the ball is going to be in his court anyways, because they locked him up and they paid him, and they believed in him, and he made it come true. But it was more than anyone's wildest imagination, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
And so now he has certainly outplayed the current contract that he's on for sure. They're saying that when Mark Andrews is due to become a free agent, they're saying that Spot Rack is estimating he'll make $13 million. Dallas Goedert, $12 million. Mike Gesicki, $10 million. Look, Mike Gesicki, $10 million.
What does Austin Hooper make? Let
me look it up. But I mean, just off that list, if those guys are scheduled or predicted, barring any kind of injuries, to make, that many figures, right? Yeah, like Darren Waller is probably like, okay, I need to make, at least over $10 million a year. They need to do something. They need to throw him a bone. They need to give him a big bonus, or restructure his contract and just like here's all this cash right now. Like they need to do something to make him happy, because this team on offense is going to live and die by Darren Waller. So
yeah, for sure. And we could, I could be wrong. It could be that he's hurt too. So
So something came to my mind. This sounds probably pretty dumb. As soon as it comes out of my mouth, I'm going to be like, why did I say that? What if, because you were talking about how, he has this chemistry. Carr and Waller have this chemistry, and everyone not named Renfro is like trying to get that chemistry with Carr. What if Gruden's just holding him out of practice so that he's forced to create that chemistry with Ruggs and Edwards?
I mean that would be a good idea. I mean, that would be the most beneficial thing. I mean, Derek Carr did call him the most unselfish player that there is, but I think that's an interesting comment to say too. At this point in time, he's saying.
He's so unselfish. He's playing for peanuts. He's playing for nothing. LaMarcus Joyner made more money than him. So unselfish. As soon as Edwards as soon as Waller heard that, he's like, "Nah, I'm not coming back."
He's like, he's the most unselfish player that I know. That's what he said. So
that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
The first day I was like, okay, yeah, maybe. What you thought, what you about Edwards? The first day I was like, oh yeah, maybe. Second day I was like, okay, maybe he's hurt. But there's still nothing. There's no like,
no press release. But, there's no press release. Right. Yeah.
And nothing. And then it's day 3, and he's still gone. So I don't know, bro. You guys tell me. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. We'll find out tomorrow before this podcast. So you guys comment afterwards. Tell me if I'm an idiot, and then Marcus is, you're speculating too much, or
yeah. I mean, look, they could have just told us why he's not there, and then it's a non-story. So yeah, it's inviting a lot of speculation. That's on them. That's on them for having him out of practice for 3 days in a row and not telling us why. That's on them. Everyone's gonna speculate now. That's part of it. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see about the comments tomorrow. Maybe I'll get this up to coincide with that tomorrow. You have anything else? Any other topics you wanted to cover, Raiders wise?
No. I do want to say, just relax on the underthrows, guys. It's okay. Sometimes quarterbacks miss. That's all I gotta say.
Sometimes quarterbacks are trying to throw a guy open.
See, and the thing is that you guys are just tired of Carr, because Herbert has some ugly underthrows in camp with Keenan Allen and Derwin James drills, and you know what those fans are saying? They're saying that he meant to do it on purpose. He's practicing 50-50 balls.
Yikes!
It's the positivity of a young quarterback, I tell you, man.
Yeah, great idea. Let's have Keenan Allen come down and roll his ankle going a 50-50 ball in camp. That's idiotic.
Or like the play you showed me, I saw a different angle. It was like really underthrown. And there's some guys. It was slightly underthrown, but Herbert's just practicing the 50-50 balls.
Keenan Allen had to stop. Okay, he could have probably lit a cigarette. Okay, by the time the ball got it was that underthrown. But anyways, I mean, this is a Justin Herbert thing. Yeah, we don't need to overreact to anything in camp right now.
Exactly,
including lineups. They're getting guys reps. Okay, and this is the time to do it. You can't start experimenting in the middle of the season. Camp is the time to do it. So Tanner Muse playing somewhere, Trayvon Moore playing somewhere, Nate Hobbs being in the slot versus Amik Robertson, yada 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 yada. None of that means anything. Everyone's got to get some reps and some looks in different places,
Exactly.
All right. That's it from me, guys. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to The Tape Don't Lie. Hopefully we get all 22 back up at some point so we can continue bringing you guys great breakdowns. I'm going to slap some footage on top of this show. So you probably have at this point seen some things already, but we're going to try to, hopefully as soon as we can get back to the normal routine of doing things. Make sure you follow myself at BD Williams 18. Follow my co-host Marcus Johnson at the Mark John NFL. You could also read our work at silverandblackpride.com. As always, Raider Nation, be cool. Peace out.